Good evening and welcome to the Standing Committee on Teaching, Learning, and Student Success. Today is Monday, February 26, 2024. My name is Alex Guardiola. I am the chair of this committee along with my colleagues, Vice Chairwoman Vanessa Alvarez immediately to my right and member Sue Mailman to her right, as well as Maureen Benenda, who's not currently with us. But also this evening from the administration is Assistant Superintendent Dr. Marie Morse and her colleagues, who I will have introduced in a moment. Let's first start by doing a roll call. Madam Clerk, if you please.
Vice Chair Alvarez.
Present.
Member Benenda. Member Mailman.
Here.
Chairperson Guardiola.
Here. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Dr. Morse, would you please introduce yourself and the colleagues for the administration for the record, please?
Sure. Good evening. My name is Marie Morse. I am the Assistant Superintendent for Teaching and Learning. To my right is Annie Azaloza. She is our Chief Academic Supports Officer. And to her right is Jason Homer, who is the Director of the Worcester Public Library. Across the table is our four Executive Directors, Ellen Kelly, Executive Director of the Doherty Quadrant, Dr. Tatum, Executive Director of the North Quadrant, Dr. Sipple, Executive Director of the South Quadrant, and Mr. Foley, Executive Director of the Burncoat Quadrant.
Thank you, Dr. Morse. This is the first meeting of this subcommittee of the year, and we have 4 items tonight, so let's get started right away. Our first item is GB 2-21.1 to accept the Early College Fund, a full school and expansion year 2 Fund Code 175 grant from the Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, continuation administered by the Office of Early College in the amount of $500,000. Dr. Morse?
Through the chair, so this is an older item, and we have our Director of Early College, Dan St. Louis, on to speak with us about the updates for the grant, and also Dr. Sipple, who oversees the South Quadrant in Claremont. So I'm going to turn this over to Dan St. Louis, our Director of Early College.
Good evening, folks. Is my audio coming through all right?
Yes.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much. Through the chair. Obviously, this item went back a couple of years, and we received the funding at that time, and we received funding for this current year as well to support full school, also called wall-to-wall early college efforts at Claremont Academy. The difference between that and regular early college, which Claremont is also a part of Early College of Worcester as a whole, is that while the goal for the statewide for early colleges is to serve 25% of grades being served, and the goal of the wall-to-wall model is to eventually serve up to 100% of a school's population. And so oftentimes when you see a lot of these full school wall-to-wall models, they're in places like New York City, and it's places where students chose to go to, specifically for that model. Claremont, being a neighborhood school, is saying, hey, you know what, what's good enough for everybody else out there is good enough for our kids too. So with that grant funding, we hired a full-time early college coach and an early college counselor to work with administration to rework Claremont's schedule. Previous to the grant, Claremont had about 4% of their high school students taking early college courses. A lot of the kids had, other obligations at home and otherwise where they couldn't really get to the campuses. So Claremont has innovatively worked with their college partners, with their faculty and admin, to bring more and more early college right to Claremont during the day. So this year, they're offering 10 early college and dual enrollment courses to kids right inside Claremont Academy, in addition to regular Early College Worcester offerings that they can take advantage of, just like any other high school. So that has actually boosted this year their early college participation rate to 31% of their high school, which obviously, when you cut out the freshmen who generally aren't taking classes just yet, that percentage goes up. So tremendous growth here in the students taking early college classes. The freshmen and middle school also do college and career readiness activities. A good chunk of this funding goes to a bridge program for rising ninth graders, for 100% of rising ninth graders to take to take a 3-week college and career summer camp at Clark, at Quinsigamond, and Worcester State, including an overnight at Worcester State in the dorms. They eat right in the campus and get the feeling for campus life, and as well as professional development, technical assistance, other supplies and things for Claremont to use in their full school wall-to-wall model.
Excellent. Thank you. I'll start with Member Mailman. Any comments, please?
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for the report. Just a few questions. 10 classes are inside the school. How many are held at Quincy or Worcester State?
So this early college Worcester as a whole has, I believe, 7 happening right now. Well, 6 on campus, 1 online, through Worcester State, available to early college Worcester. So any college actually. Quinsigamond, I believe, has 13 classes happening this semester. It tends to be the same kind of number each semester. The goal here with Claremont is, and those kids can't take full advantage of that, but Claremont is offering classes right during the school day too, both through college professors coming into Claremont Academy, as well as Claremont Academy faculty who are also adjunct faculty at Quinsigamond. And
Sure.
unlike the other early college kind of models, they're partnered with Clark University as well to offer Bio 101 and Bio 102 courses, and obviously the kids just kind of walk, right down the hill to Clark University to take those classes.
So so with this grant, we're only talking about the Claremont program, and we're only talking, and you're saying some of the classes are held at Clark, but they don't go or some also go to Quincy, or everything is at Claremont? Sorry for my confusion.
It's a wide variety. The kids can take advantage in a lot of different ways here. So the biggest number where the kids are taking advantage happen inside Claremont, taught by college faculty.
Okay.
Or high school faculty who are also college faculty.
Understood, yep, understood.
Yep. And then cohorts of kids also physically walk over to Clark to take the biology classes over
Yep.
there. And then to a varying degree, kids can take advantage of classes that happen on the Quincy and Worcester State campuses as well.
As we go forward, Mr. St. Louis, I think it would be great to really understand how much is actually happening in the high school versus on the campuses. I just think that's an important part of this program. And then, I see the goal of the program is 26, 27, yet these dollars are covering the current year that we're in. So tell me if you've got a direct pipeline to Governor Healy, and are they going to fund the early college next year and the year after so that we can actually achieve these objectives? What do you know about that?
So, well, let me call up Maura right here.
Yeah, exactly.
So this money kind of represented a jump start, a kickstart of this particular model at Claremont. Though Claremont is still and has been part of early college Worcester as a whole as well. And
Yep.
I have, while probably, people, it might not be in writing yet, but I have received assurances from folks kind of in the know that the early college funding that we use for early college Worcester as a whole will continue, at least for the new school year. And as you probably know, this is early college statewide is a huge push. There's a lot of support statewide and at the state house to support and to keep growing early college across the Commonwealth.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Vice Chairwoman Alvarez, any questions or comments?
I do not have any.
Thank you. I just have a couple comments. I think obviously this program is fantastic. I think it gives our students a chance to really be ahead of the curve, and gives them access to classes that they may not otherwise be available to them, and I think the money is being used correctly. And I would actually applaud the administration for seeking out these funds and utilizing them correctly, especially giving them an opportunity to go to various places, whether it's at the actual high school or at the academy or at Clark University, Worcester State, and in the Quinn Sigmund, obviously. But the overnight, I think, is fantastic as well. So you get that kind of college experience, I think, is it's worth the weight in gold. So I appreciate the report, and I'm going to make a motion to approve and file. Do I have a second?
Yes. Second.
Roll call.
Vice Chair Alvarez.
Yes.
Member Benenda. Member Mailman.
Yes.
Chairperson Guardiola.
Yes. Thank you. Right, moving on to our next item, GB 2-292.3. Request that the administration explore offering driver's eds utilizing local driving schools at the high school level. Dr. Morse.
Through the chair, thank you. So this evening, we have our Administrative Director of College and Career Readiness with us, Chris Chrysonis, and he has an update on driver's education.
Thank you, Dr. Moore.
He's on the Zoom.
Thank you.
Through the chair, we do have an update with our funding and everything related to the driver's education upon an audit of all of our programs and taking a look at a lot of our students and co-ops and internships and what we had some barriers that were set for some of our students. We were able to find out basically that transportation is one of the biggest causes of students not being able to get into their co-ops, internships, or even just jobs in general. And then even myself, knowing it through my own children, the cost to do this is in over $1,000 to get the classrooms taken care of, the fees and services all paid for. So we looked for opportunities, and Emily Lehman, who's in charge of our Innovation Career Pathways program and our Connecting Activities program, also reached out and received funding from the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA, for funding for 100 of our students to receive a $775 scholarship towards the cost of driver's education through AAA. And they'll be responsible for paying the remaining $259 for the class. That includes some of the road test fees. Some of it is taken care of, some of it isn't, but for that price, they're able to get everything all taken care of. We're going to offer 5 sessions for our students, and we will start during April vacation. There'll be the 1-week crash course, which is the 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m., and then we're going to be offering our other sessions at Worcester Tech, Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, 2:30 to 4:30, which will run from basically a month from April 30th to May 30th. We're also going to offer a summer session and 2 sessions in the fall. So we'll have a total of 100 students over those 5 sessions that'll be able to attend. In order to attend, they need to apply. We had our first lottery where we'll have 43 students that received acceptance emails, and they have 2 weeks, 14 days to be able to make sure that they can take care of all the paperwork. They have to complete the registration with the driving school and then pay that $259 to the driving school in order to get accepted into that, and then they can take care of all the necessary things that they have. If someone is unable to do so, we've asked them to reach out and speak with Emily and let them know possibly why, but also if there's any help they might need with that. But if they're not able to do that, then we would move to the next person on the waiting list to make sure that they have access to this as well. We had conducted the lottery based on 138 Worcester Public School students that applied to the first sessions and registered for the lottery from 10 different schools. They assigned a number of seats to 100 based on 10 public school students that they serve. And we also took a look at the programs as we're trying to give opportunities to our students that are in Innovation Career Pathways, and then all the career, vocational, and technical programs in Chapter 74 programs. So we wanted to make sure that we gave those opportunities the opportunity to get into the driver's ed class so they could expedite the process of getting through driver's education. So we will be starting those classes up in April vacation, and then again April 30th, and then we'll have a summer and 2 fall sessions that we're opening this up to our students, and we'll continue to have lotteries for each one of those. And that's the state of where we are right now.
Thank you. And I'll start with member mailman. Any comments or questions?
A very loud Yahoo. Awesome. And I guess I just ultimately asked the chair, So I guess we would get reports on this as we go forward, but these are one-time ARPA funds, right? So we would have to come up with other ways to fund it in the future if this
Right,
was
we are looking
something,
into
yeah.
that and see what the possibilities are. I know in the past they've done them through the schools. The difficulty is the state was very relaxed during COVID, and now they've kind of stepped it back up again in terms of where they host these driving lesson classes and who you're aligned with. If it's AAA, Central Mass Safety Council,
Yeah.
some will do it right at the schools. Some have some, different rules that they want to be able to do and train teachers that will actually do it. So we are looking into the opportunity to do that, even for the students without a discount, that we can at least offer those classes, which might be a little bit easier for students to get to as opposed to going to West Mountain Street or heading down to West Boylston or what have you.
Yeah. Great job, Emily. Thank you.
Vice Chairwoman Alvarez?
No comments, but it's amazing to hear that.
Thank you. And I also applaud the administration and the schools as well, because we know that price is always a deterrent, and being able to offset those costs is so crucial for these students, especially those who are in these programs, the Chapter 74 programs, Innovation Pathway. To get to a job site is difficult. It's easier to kind of say, they can take a bus, but let's not kid ourselves, there's not a bus stop at every corner. There's also lack of buses and employees at this time. So being able to get them their driver's licenses and an opportunity to get to the workforce, to the job site is critical. So thank you so much for all the work, and hopefully we can continue to fund this program and find creative ways to make sure that we continue the way we're moving on this item. So I'll make a motion to approve and file. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor? Roll call.
Vice Chair Alvarez,
Yes.
Member Benenda, Member Mailman,
Yes.
Chairperson Guardiola.
Yes. Next item we have is GB 2-56.5, request that the administration provide an update on library programs and the use of librarians throughout the district. Dr. Morse?
Thank you, through the chair. So we last updated this committee on June 8th, and today I have with me almost doctor, Jason Holmer. He's the director of the Worcester Public Library, and Dr. Colleen Kelly. She's on Zoom, but she is the phone number. For whatever reason, she couldn't log in easily. So since we last met, we've been working very hard on reestablishing and revitalizing our relationship with the Worcester Public Library. And with that, we've come up with some next steps and some great opportunities for our students in our schools. So I'm going to hand it over first to Dr. Kelly, who's going to update you on the status of libraries in Worcester. And then I'm going to hand it over to Jason Holmer, and he's going to talk to you a little bit more about some of the innovative ideas that we have been working on in our task force. So, Dr. Kelly? What happened?
I've seen that.
Good evening. Through the chair, are you able to hear me? This
Yes.
is Dr. Kelly.
We can hear you, Dr.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much for having me. Through the chair, I would like to report that we have had a fantastic revitalization of our relationship with the Worcester Public Library and the executive director, Jason Homer. Katie Only, who is the English Language Arts Liaison, and myself have been working closely with him and his staff to ensure that we are moving forward to combine our resources to provide more access for Worcester Public School students to books that we are not, as a public school district, always able to provide access to. I know that Jason can speak to this a little bit more, but we are working together to ensure that students incoming to grades 7, 8, 9, and 10 will have access to the SOAR ebook database, which is a subscription-based database that would allow us to ensure students are having a common read coming into middle and high school grades, and that common read would then be the basis of their first 5 weeks of their English language arts curriculum unit. Jason has been working with us to figure out how we are going to provide access to Worcester Public Library cards to all of our 25,000 students. And he has had a fantastic opportunity to create these kiosk/vending machine sorts of machines in a variety of locations, one of which is located in the YMCA on Main Street, one is located on in Union Station, and another at the Senior Center. And people can go in and swipe their library card and take out books. So with the One City, One Library and the 4 branches, we have a fantastic relationship with the Worcester Public Library in allowing our students to have access to those library resources. But he's been working very closely with the state to secure additional funding and to possibly provide additional opportunities to install these kiosk/vending machine options where students would have access to 300 to 400 titles that would be a benefit to them and curated by the Worcester Public Library staff. Through the chair.
Thank you. Dr. Morris?
Do I have to turn anything on?
No.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And through the chair, to follow up on the previous speaker, Dr. Kelly's few words, and I'll add a few things that we've been working on this year, provide a little context, and then set some goals for us with the public library. As Dr. Kelly mentioned, the library has really reinvigorated our relationship with the public schools, stemming from this committee's meeting last year, where the schools invited me to attend and to start thinking about how we go about our conversations. For the good of the order, I will just remind everyone that in 2012, the Worcester Public Library, along with the College of Holy Cross, launched Libby, our first bookmobile in a number of years, to begin to provide books and materials to students in our elementary schools. The following year, the library and the city partnered with the schools to launch our One City, One Library project, which launches a branch in each quadrant of the city. And then in 2014, we took that to the next level to add Lily, our little bookmobile that is designed to serve our schools. And all of that was chugging along, and about this time 4 years ago, a lot of that stopped. And so I started with the public library a little over three years ago, and a lot of this initiatives has been to build stronger relationships, but also hearing from our community and hearing from our parents. In my time at the Worcester Public Library, I've had 15 different parent groups reach out to me in under 3 years about services they need. And so for me, it is all about creating a scalable response that is listening to our community, is responding to our community, and we've been very excited over the past year. To add on what Dr. Morris and Dr. Kelly mentioned previously, one thing that the library has done as a community is we have a library committee that we have met every month in 2024 so far. That is all of the librarians that are within the school system, and some of the leadership of the Worcester Public Library has met to start working on some of these collaboration spaces. One of those, as mentioned, was an enhanced community read summer reading attempt. So we're working, and actually this morning we're working on some titles related to what our expectations were, as well as trying to find them fundable, right? With that, as Dr. Kelly mentioned, we have launched the Sora app. Sora will be available to the schools. You know, there's quite a bit of technical logistics to work through, and so the schools technology, IT, whatever the formal name of that is, has been working to deal with a lot of the variability, but simply put, what I did is I authorized the school system to have access to all the ebooks as age appropriate. So every student's ages grades K to 5 will have access to all juvenile material, 6 to 8 will have access to all YA material, and 9+ will have access to adult, anything not labeled as mature. So anything mature, they wouldn't be able to get through the SOAR app. They would have to go to the public library to get. So that's one of the things that we've worked on this year, as well as, in addition to that, the Worcester Public Library and the Worcester Regional Transit Authority have launched a new thing called Browse Borrow Board. This is part of a statewide initiative that helps us, uses a simple QR code, and students can have access to books and materials directly through an email address. They don't need a library card. They can have it and open up, no library card needed, no barriers, just scan a QR code. Most mobile devices have it kind of built inside it. Going forward, some of our future goals will really to hammer home this student card initiative, work towards using the systems that already exist within the schools and integrating them using API through our system, which also leads me to another future initiative, one that we've already worked on with many schools, including the schools in which you already have librarians, is institutional cards, so that teachers are not incurring the checkout of materials they're using for the classroom on their own personal card. They're doing a system card so that we can make the proper decisions about what happens when those books get lost. My official position is to rather kids read than worry about that. We've also secured some state funding for curriculum-based collections through Representative Mary Keefe is working on earmarks for us to continue to develop curriculum-based collections. And as Dr. Kelly mentioned, we did this past year launch 3 lending kiosks, one at the senior center, one at the Union Station, and one at the YMCA, where many students frequent for various activities, including gym. And so they recognize the library vending machine right away, even though you may not. And so ultimately, this year has really been a year about collaboration, and one that we will need to continue to build on. I'm very excited that the schools have brought me into this conversation, and we're coming at this collaboratively, but we know there's a lot more that needs to be done. We know where our reading levels sit. We know that we know how much learning was lost in the pandemic, and we have a tough hill ahead of us. This is the first of many future initiatives that we'll work on in order to build the best access. But I will say that we are aware that what we're doing is almost playing whack-a-mole with problems, and we are interested in systemic change that can really do what's right for our community. But in the meantime, we won't let the perfect be enemy of the good in developing some new initiatives.
Through the chair, if I might address the summer reading issue, we know that systemically this has been a challenge for the Worcester Public Schools, and we are viewing this revitalization of our relationship with the Worcester Public Library and having student access to their SOAR ebook collection, which is a subscription access, which the Worcester Public Schools is not able to fund, that the Worcester Public Library has sought out funding through the state and has generously brought us into their fold, that students would be able to have a common read, and that common read would translate into the first 4 to 6 weeks of their English language arts curriculum unit when they come back to school in the fall. And that would help when a student is entering Worcester East Middle School, and then maybe they transfer to Sullivan Middle School 2 weeks into the first semester, and then they transfer back to Worcester East Middle School. It won't matter because they will have all had the same experience reading a common read. Thank you. Through the chair.
Thank you. I'm remembering.
Thank you. No other public comments? Anybody else?
I haven't seen any public comment. Anybody online looking for to say a few words on public comment?
Was someone here?
Oh, fine. Go right ahead, please.
Just go to the mic, please.
Please state your name and your residence, please.
Hi, my name is Jody Chamberlain. I live in Worcester. I have 3 Worcester public students. One's a graduate, one's a middle schooler, and one's an elementary. I'm here to speak about GB 2-56. I want to thank the administration for updating and continue efforts with the library programs and the use of librarians throughout the district and our city. As most of you are new to the committee, I wanted to update you on how this got started. I brought forward wanting to have libraries and librarians in elementary schools. Member Kamara wanted a list of which schools had libraries and which were working. Member Mailman wanted a 6-month update on libraries and the programs. It was said that money and space was the problem as to why elementary schools were not able to have libraries and librarians. This fall, it'll be 20 years that most of the elementary school librarians were let go. The high schools have librarians and librarian spaces because of accreditation. This is not equitable to the elementary schools. Libraries and librarians are not the same as most of the committee members here tonight remember. Just look at our public library and how different it is now from then in the past. I know there is no money and space for the librarians at this time, but we need to continue to think outside the box until all schools have librarians and librarians back. I ask that GB 2-56 be held because there's still work we need to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Member Millian.
So glad we recognized you, because you had all the, the dates. At the end of my comments, Chair, I 1,000% agree that we need to keep this item and hold it, and I would continue to like 6 months updates. I appreciate this new working group that Dr. Morse has put together. Thank you for doing this with Colleen and Jason. This is terrific. But I hope that 6 months from now, we're talking more about how are the libraries within the few, we have one per quadrant, and then we have some in some of the schools, and some are active and some are not, and it's a very kind of hodgepodgey thing to me. And I've been assured from administration that this is we're going to have a million conversations this year about money, and in my mind, we're all adults in this room, and everybody's gone up and down before. So we're going to go down, and then we're going to go up. And I just want us to continue working towards the future of what would be the equitable system for access to library materials or library, Libby access, or whatever it is that we're going to be able to create. But I would ask us, Chair, to not lose track of this item and to continue. And I appreciate this work and this cool kind of stuff that's good. Can school committee get a library card? I have one, all right.
Through the chair, yes.
Oh, great, thank you. Okay. So thank you for the report.
Thank you. Vice Chairwoman Alvarez, any comments or questions?
Thank you for sharing. That was a lot of information to lean on.
Thank you. I have just a few questions, and I know that as my colleague, Member Mailman mentioned, money is a real issue at all times. I appreciate the comments, and I sympathize with the idea that we should really want to have a librarian at all schools. With the $22 million deficit that we're looking at this year, it's unfortunately not realistic at this time. But I do have a question for Dr. Morse. Some of the hurdles that we continue to see, obviously money being one of them, but access to librarians, is that something that you continue to see?
Through the chair, yes. Library media specialist has a very unique license requirement with DESI, and finding that license has proven to be difficult in the past. We are considering using our educational technology specialists to help with loading the Sora app and helping our students navigate the app. So that is another alternative way that we can consider around, being innovative and creative. Finding certified with DESI librarians is a daunting task and challenging.
Thank you. And I wanted to congratulate Mr. Homer, or soon to be Dr. Homer. He has been working.
No pressure.
Yeah, it's not fumbling, right? No, I want to, he's been working tirelessly to grow the library, the online access, the vending machines that I've seen whenever I go to the T or at the Y, those are fantastic options for the students. obviously, there's going to be some issues with the budget, and we'll talk about that when we get down the line. But this doesn't preclude parents and schools to work together to have volunteer librarians if they choose to do so. We encourage it. If you want to participate in your student's school, that'd be fantastic. I was going to make a motion to file, but listening to my colleague and trying to get updates, I agree that maybe we should get an update in about 6 months. So the motion on the floor is to hold. Do I have a second?
Yes, you do. I'll
Second. Roll call.
Vice Chair Alvarez.
Yes. to
Member
hold.
Benenda.
Yes.
Member Mailman. Your member
Oh, I'm
Mailman.
sorry. Yes.
Chairperson Guardiola.
Yes. Thank you. And our final item for the evening is GB 3-253.1 to provide an update to the school committee about the D.A.B Biomedical Academy program. Dr. Morse.
Thank you. Through the chair, we're all very excited about the new Doherty Memorial High School that's going to be opening, but no one more excited than Principal John Staley. So we have John Staley with us this evening. He's on Zoom, and he's going to give us an overview and an update of the Doherty Biomedical Program.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for your time, and to the chair. So, as Dr. Morse had mentioned, we are looking for approval to start and implement an advanced science academy, and we are focusing on the biomedical sciences. Our program would start in grade 9, and we would be the plan would be to draw students from across the district, similar to the programs in place at Hanover and at Goddard, through some sort of application process to enroll students in grade 9, and those students would then move up through 9, 10, 11, and 12, and we backfill the grades accordingly until we are at full capacity over the course of a 4-year interval of time. Part of the programming that we would be looking to incorporate would allow students to take coursework that would result in them having the opportunity to earn college credit. Similar to the advanced placement courses, this would be through an organization called Project Lead the Way. So again, they would take their effectively final exams, and if they scored proficient on those exams, the students would have the opportunity to earn college credit. This program would have, again, over the course of the 4 years, purposeful opportunities for students to explore the curriculum in the community through field work, through internships if possible, through field trips, interacting with, again, members of the community who engage in this work. And the benefit of Worcester is certainly that there's no shortage of post-secondary and private organizations that are engaging in the biomedical sciences. This particular program, again, there would be some cost associated with it. It's a cost that Worcester and Doherty specifically has some association with. We currently have a participation fee for our engineering program. It's one of our vocational programs. This particular biomed pathway would also have a fee associated with it, but it's something that could be that we're aware of and therefore would be budgeting for accordingly. This would be a science program, and so there would be costs associated with that in terms of consumables and capital equipment. But again, it's a known challenge. It's a known factor in our planning and our budgeting process, given that we have science classes currently, including the advanced placement, for which there is rigorous laboratory work that the students do. The staff would be supported in that there is purposeful summer training, and as part of that training and as part of the participation fee, the staff would have access to a range of curriculum resources that is established and supported nationwide. So as industry trends change, the curriculum would change accordingly, and the staff would be given updates to their training or updates to their professional development opportunities accordingly. The in the backup to the school committee agenda, pardon me, there is a proposed timeline for bringing this program into place. And so one of the benefits of how Worcester is approaching this through the leadership at D.A.B. is to have some opportunities for there to be purposeful alignment with the program we're proposing at Doherty with the other programs that are in place currently, again, at Burncoat and at Goddard, for us to develop a stronger understanding of the application process and the scheduling process, and for there to be some alignment across the district. So as families are given this information, they are being given this information in a consistent manner, so then families have the knowledge to make their choices for whatever secondary school program they wish to attend.
Thank you. Any public comment on this? Before we miss that. Okay. Member Mailman?
Thank you. Thanks for this report. I also imagine we will hold this as well and maybe have a couple of different reports. I want to talk for a minute about admissions policies, and I believe we were one of the first to put together an equitable process with our vocational system. And this is big eyes on it across the state. Worcester's been involved since the beginning. And in my view, I believe that our goal in this system is that Goddard, Hanover, and this program would also have the same admissions program. So that is not, what I just heard is not the same as Worcester Tech. And we're still in development, so we've got time to figure this out. But I would actually like, and maybe Dr. Morse can speak to it, or I'd make a motion that we get the information about where we are with admissions on all these different programs. And I also mean Chapter 74 for Doherty, Chapter 74 for South, and Chapter 74 wherever they are. I think that we've learned a big lesson, and we've led the way on this, and this should happen with what people call advanced or accelerated programs. I'm feel very strongly on that, and I think Mr. Staley wants to say something.
I just wanted to, my apologies, and to the chair, I just wanted to clarify as I looped the ETA, our engineering program, into this conversation. The ETA is a vocational pathway, is it a vocational program at Doherty? And Doherty, starting next year, will have 4 vocational programs for which there is an application process, a tiered lottery. This Biomed Academy is not a vocational program. So I just wanted to make that clarification.
I am aware of that, and I'm with you, and I still say admissions is admissions for programs that we're thinking about. So I'll just throw that back to the administration, I guess.
Sure, so through the chair, currently we are working in a task force or a work group with principals and teachers and administrators around equitable programming and pathways. So we are looking and reviewing at all different programs that we have, criteria for admission to programs, lotteries for Chapter 74. We again are trying to systematize and ensure that we are putting equity at the center and ensuring that our program pathways do not unintentionally prohibit students from having access to them if they so desire to be part of it. More work to come on that, and that is why we had to really sit and wait on starting this biomedical academy at Doherty, because imagine the work, opening a brand new high school with all these students, brand new everything, and then now we wanted to ensure that we did this right. So we have time to work through the criteria for admission to different programs and also the lottery reopeners for some of our Chapter 74. So we are going to be meeting with Worcester Tech, a couple of the other schools, around making sure that the lottery criteria that we have works for them, and what adjustments might we need to make moving forward. We'd have to bring that to you by the end of this year, so that we'd be able to move forward with that for the following year. But again, this is not opening until fall of 2025, so we do have some time to work out some of the details of the program.
Yes.
And then, thank you for that. And I, again, in my mind, I think lottery should be part of the answer on every one of these programs. If that's what we determine equity is, then they all have to be lottery programs. Then I'll get off my soapbox and also ask a cost question. So the ETA program has a cost. I think that some of our vocational programs have costs in terms of clothing or things like that. I wonder if there's, through the chair to Dr. Morse or whoever is knowledgeable, is there something that you could provide this committee that would be a schedule of fees that are associated with our Chapter 74 or non-74 programs?
Through the chair, yes, we could do that.
Thank you. I'd make that motion and then also the motion to hold. Thank you.
All right. Chairwoman Alvarez, anything? Questions, comments?
No questions or comments at this time.
Thank you. I appreciate the report. Obviously, we're talking about a program that's not going to be launched until 2025, so we do have some time, which is great. As the new high school comes online, there's going to be a lot of hiccups and a lot of things that we have to work on, and this gives us the opportunity to get this program launched correctly. I think it's, biomanufacturing, biomedical. I think that's the future of Worcester, and it's exciting to have this at the high school level. Because that pipeline is a great career path with lots of ladders and allows these students to be able to build equity in their own lives, whether it's living here. Well, they're going to live here in Worcester, I hope. But again, I thank you for the report. I also appreciate the timeline. I think that obviously there's a lot of things that have to happen in order for this to get launched. And I agree that holding it would be the right thing to do to get a report, kind of a status update as we continue moving forward. So there are two motions on the floor. The first, I'm sorry, would you repeat your motion, please?
The first is, or the second is to hold.
Yeah.
We got that one down. And then the other one is to provide us a schedule of the costs associated with some of our Chapter 74 or other programs.
So the motion is to get a report on the cost of these Chapter 74 or these programs for the committee, please. And then the second will be to hold. So we'll start with the first. Madam Clerk?
Vice Chair Alvarez.
Yes.
Member Benenda. Member Mailman.
Yes.
Chairperson Guardiola.
Yes. The second motion is to hold. Madam Clerk?
Vice Chair Alvarez.
Yes.
Member Benenda. Member Mailman.
Yes.
Chairperson Guardiola.
Yes. Thank you, and that is the end of our items. I make a motion to adjourn. All in favor, opposed, so ordered.